Welcome into the Dad Verb Podcast, where we chat about parenting from the lens of a dad. My name's Andrew, and I'm joined by Ben Brown and Andrew Saunders. And this week we're going to be chalking. We're going to be talking about managing screen time.
Words are hard.
Words are so hard. We're going to be talking about chalking about managing screen time, and then security for your family, baby monitors, data, privacy. Some dad talk about that. We're going to round it out with some Discord questions, and then we'll just sign off like we normally do. But first, we always got to do our sick check for the week, and I'm just going to go ahead and kick it off. We had colds, and then we went right to stomach bug, which has been ripping through our whole community, and Henry was straight up just vomiting. So nope, we are not in the clear. Been dealing with that a bunch. And luckily, it was restricted to just Henry by miracle. It did not hit the rest of us. So we are in the clear now. We're good to go. But that's us. What about you guys? I know I already broke the streak, but how you guys doing?
We're going to break the streak too. Literally between the last episode where we said everybody was fine and now, both of my kids got sick. Luckily, just mildly, runny noses, cough, all that stuff, no fevers or anything. However, found out today right before the stream when my daughter got home from school that apparently one of the infants in her class has pink eye. And so the likelihood now is that she also has pink eye. We noticed one of her eyes is like just a little bit gooky, a little bit goopy and gross.
I'm going to give you those antibiotic drops.
We're probably going to be fighting an infant to do antibiotic drops over the next couple days. So we're breaking the streak too. We're back to 0 days with nobody sick.
I feel like we need a little post-production counter. Like click, click, click. Like how many weeks is each of us at? Because we're healthy. I think I'm going on like 6 or 8 weeks of straight healthy family. So stop ruining the streak, guys, because I'm not pulling us down.
Watch, we are going to go on like a wild streak, and you're going to be so sick for like 4 weeks straight. It's going to be so bad.
Miserable all through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It'll be terrible. Knock on wood, man.
We are, as usual, going to have some sort of talking delay because my Wi-Fi is just so effing bad. And before we started recording this episode, going back and forth with Andrew about like my router and just trying to like figure out, because the one that I got through AT&T is just absolute poo-poo. So we're gonna get that sorted eventually. But
AT&T looking for a sponsorship.
They're based here in Dallas, by the way. So, but yeah. Sorry, I'm nomming on my kids' Halloween candy, so I apologize if you can hear me chewing. But going with the Airheads tonight, the watermelon flavored
Halloween candy.
Wow,
it's delicious. It's so good. But
on this version of the ASMR Dad Verb Podcast, brought to you by Andrew 2 and friends, we have.
If I started an ASMR thing, it would be an absolute nightmare. My wife would hate me. But speaking of, I've been so slow posting content on Dad Verb.
Andrew eating into the microphone.
Sorry. All right, you know what? I'm gonna kick off the next segment, and then I'm gonna finish the dang Airhead. So I've been slow to post a lot of content on YouTube.
Somebody else talk.
All right, hold on. Let me finish. I'm chewing on. This is bad. Why did I start doing this? To the listeners, audio.
That was the thought I was having. Like, why did you start with the Kit Kat and then go to the Airhead after you hit record? Like, we had time, man. You could have just.
We're gonna have to edit this. Okay. So we're just really slow to post on the Dad Verb. But what the next video that I do have is actually about like some good apps, right? That you can be guiding your kids to rather than just like YouTube, right? To spoil it, there are some really, really good ones out there. One that we now found, which is really fantastic, is it's called Duolingo ABC. This is by the same makers of the second language learning ed tech company. and it's a completely free, like no subscription, no like little trial to unlock the full suite of stuff. It's a free, fun educational app for kids designed, from like that, 3 to 6 range, and it's been great. But on that note, I think the main thing that we're going to be talking about is about like managing that screen time, kind of setting kind of healthy limits there. And I guess, I guess to start, maybe we'll kick it off to Ben here, because I think in the past we've talked about how we would, start with a little bit of screen time, and then screen goes off, and then our kids start getting a little tantrumy, or they start acting a little different, so I'll kick it off to you. When it comes to screen time, what are some, I guess, methods about your approach to that? Because we already talked about like not villainizing screen time, like we're in on it, right? But what about setting healthy limits? I'll let you take the floor, and then I'll eat my airhead.
Yeah, I don't know if we're always like the best for setting healthy limits on screen times. I mean, I think we do what we can, right? Like we try not to use it as like the babysitter, and just like stick our kid in front of a screen when we just know, we can't deal with them at that moment. That does happen from time to time. That's the reality of raising kids, is sometimes you just need a minute to do something, and it's like, hey, why don't you watch a movie or a show? But the way we use screens in our house is we try to be a little bit intentional about it. So for example, like every Friday night, like we've started doing a lot more cooking at home, and every Friday night we try to do like a pizza night. So whether we make or order or whatever at home, we'll do pizza night with our 3-year-old, since he can stay up a little bit later. And at that time, we like pick a movie to watch as a family. So like we all sit down together and watch, usually some kind of Disney movie or something that he's really into at that point. Which, for us is like, yeah, it's kind of a lot of screen time in one chunk. You're talking 2.5 hours kind of in one big go. But at the same time, like we're interacting with each other, like we're having a good time, we're having a good family experience as a part, and the screen is just a part of that. It's not the distraction. It's actually kind of the point, and is actually like bringing us together. And then, we do use it sometimes, like if we're traveling, one of the great things is like to get some puzzles, right? And have your kid be able to do like some puzzles, or have some sort of something to interact with in the car. Like it's kind of hard as a 3-year-old just to sit there and stare out the window for a 4 or 5, 6 hour road trip. And you can only stop so much and still get where you're going. So we try to do things that like he's going to be developing a little bit, or he's going to be thinking, doing a puzzle, doing colors, doing numbers or shapes, rather than just, putting a movie on and letting him watch that. We've also found if he's doing a puzzle, he's much less likely to be car sick. If he's like watching a movie and just sitting there and kind of the motion on the screen and the motion out the window, it seems like he's much more likely to get car sick. But if he's actually interacting, it seems like it kind of keeps him a little more calm, which is nice.
Andrew, I know that, you've got littles, but maybe not so much in these, in the tablet, TV phase so much. But I mean, do you have kind of any general thoughts for you kicking it off?
I mean, so my eldest doesn't like screens at this point. Like I've sit down to try to do like, okay, let's watch Sesame Street, let's watch Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry. What else have I tried? Basically it's stuff that's going to semi-entertain me, and she has no interest whatsoever in any part of kids' HBO programming. Disney Plus, none of it. Like I haven't gone to things like Bluey or any of the obvious kid shows, but doesn't care, doesn't want to watch them. And when it comes to like my phone, that's Dad's phone. Like she doesn't touch it, she doesn't care. She gets really excited when I share it with her, but I have a couple like kid game apps, like I forget what, they're out of Australia. And I only know that because they pronounce, like they say buffalo and they show a water buffalo, not an American buffalo, right? Anyway, and she loves playing those games, but she gets bored after maybe 5 minutes. The 8-month-old will stare at the TV. Like if she's sitting on my lap and I'm watching a show, she's like, I'm in. What are we watching? Let's do this, Dad. Like, and so I think she's going to be the one I have to watch a little more than the elder child, Paige. But she's already shown an interest in all things that have flat surfaces and LEDs behind them at this point. So,
man. Well, I'd say
not
that
too much
for
trouble. We're not.
oh, sorry, it's we're in that awkward we're in that awkward I legitimately think that I'm about a solid 5 seconds to 6 possibly even upwards of 7 seconds in delay, which is horrible. I would say that for me, our situation kind of echoes Ben, where obviously there are times, especially when Henry was going through this whole sick thing just this past weekend and stuff, where we're just like, just do whatever you want on the tablets, whatever. But then, when we make it more of an intentional thing where it's kind of not just a distraction so that we can get something done, but something that brings us together, when you frame it in that kind of mindset, it does help. And also, what they're engaging with, rather than just, Subway Surfers or, whatever, just silly, goofy things, and more stuff that's like kind of intentional. There's another one that we like called Osmo, which is it's a little bit more interactive, where they like interact with like the real world with like pieces, and it's kind of like a guided educational tool. Then it becomes less of a I don't know, less of like this battle between like screen time and kids and attitudes, and more just kind of like a moment where you can reconnect through this thing, and then and call it quits. But yeah, there are times though when it's like they start to get, I would say, they've just become just douchebags, is basically it. When it's like, hey, it's time to just turn off the screens and stuff like that, and then and they start getting really angry, then we have to kind of have this discussion of like, listen, this is not how we're going to act when we're not going to get grumpy and stuff like that just because it's time to put up tablets. So recently we have been doing just like straight up like time limits, where it'll just straight up time out after like 45-60 minutes, and they're like, and they'll just walk over and be like, all right, well, I guess we're done. I'm like, cool, we're done, we can go play with whatever else now. So and then and then when it's less me being the enforcer and more like the actual device being the enforcer, it's a little bit nicer, I guess, and a little bit more tolerable for them. So that is another healthy, simple tactic there. But there's sorry, I ramble, and because of the delay, I always like have a tough time. So I'm going to mute myself, and I'll let Ben hop in here.
Yeah. So I know we talked about the idea of like kids getting upset. I know my son sometimes gets upset when we have to turn the TV off. And so I think what I found helps us a lot is, first of all, he really only gets upset if he's watching what we would consider like kind of mindless TV, right? Like he's super into Spider-Man right now. And so he watches this, it's like Spidey and His Amazing Friends. It's a Disney Plus like cartoon show, but the episodes are basically, they're 30 minutes, but it's like a split episode. So it's effectively like a 15-minute episode. And he gets locked into that, right? And he doesn't hear or see anything else that's happening around him. Like he only sees what's on the TV. And I used to get really frustrated with him because I try to talk to him, or I tried to say something from across the room, or, hey, it's, dinner time, or we're going to turn this off in one episode. And one of the things that I realized is that he is so focused on the show that he's not hearing anything I'm saying. And so the only time he hears me is if I like really raise my voice to get his attention or clap really loud. And that kind of like jolts him out of this experience of the show. And so a couple things that I found that have helped a lot is, number one, setting that limitation and saying, all right, we're going to watch this one episode. So whether it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes, we get to watch one episode and then it turns off. So you set the expectation before you even turn the show on. And then if you ask to watch another one, we say, we've already watched one. That was our limit. TV's going off for now. We're going to find something else to do and, do something else. Help me cook dinner, do a puzzle, whatever. The second thing is that if I want his attention, or if I need anything from him, or I need to interact with him, I need to make the effort to go over to him and have him know that I'm there. right? So like touch him on the arm, get in front of him, do whatever that will kind of get his attention or break his attention from the show. Because otherwise he's just going to be stuck in that. He's not going to hear anything that I'm saying. And when I just turn the TV off, it's going to jolt him out of that, the trance of watching the TV. And he's not going to understand why, because he has not absorbed any of the information I've said to him. He's not going to absorb that we're only going to watch one episode, or that it's time for dinner, or that we're leaving the house. So I need to be more intentional about how I communicate with him while he's watching a show, if I don't want that outcome of him being just like super upset and throwing a tantrum when the show is over.
That's super true. Now, on that note, maybe we can talk about this after, because it kind of dovetails. But Ben, you made a few good reels on your Instagram about like great shows to be engaging with. I know Bluey is obviously one, but maybe we can touch on that maybe slightly after, even though that wasn't technically on the show doc, because that might be just a fun thing to go over. But on your note though, it is, yeah, you do bring up a good point, especially about like, that, or a couple good points about mitigating what the effect happens after the screens go off, because it is an ongoing thing that I feel like has just been kind of not an issue, but just like something that we've been like overly conscious of recently, especially as we start doing more than just like educational games here and there, but like we're actually engaging on like Nintendo Switches, right? We're doing like Mario Kart, we're playing like games now, right? Which has a slightly harder, deeper impact. So as our kids get older, that is something that we're being conscious of. The thing is just like, I really enjoy the games. And I mean, maybe a little bit too far, but I started playing Fortnite in front of the kiddos, and they freaking love it. They absolutely love it. And I'm like, I can't keep on playing Fortnite in front of you guys. And because Katie walked in and she just seen like the bang, 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 bang. I'm like, oh, son of a, yeah, maybe not, right? Yeah, maybe not. And I mean, whereas, but like, and then I'll play like Splatoon, which is very fast paced. And it's like, it's a lot for a kid to process. There's a lot for a kid to process. It's just, it's not the healthiest, but I know that we're like, hey guys, I'm gonna stop. They're gonna be like, no, like they absolutely love it. So, but I mean, I will say that is a really, really good, fun thing for us to engage with together. Maybe it's just a dad thing, but I really enjoy that aspect of it. I mean, Andrew, though, like it's kind of cool that your kiddos, they just like they don't like need it, So just like keep it going.
I don't know how I've managed that. Okay, it's a fluke of nature, because
it could be a slippery slope. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, I want to be fair to every kid out there, right? My mother used to hate it when we went to the video store. Yes, I am that old. Got a VHS tape that had anything to do with ninjas. Okay? Because if we watched a ninja movie once, we were ninjas for 4 days.
Dude.
And we kicked, chopped, hiya, right? Everything was a nunchuck. Everything was a sword. Like, so this isn't a new phenomenon, all right? This is just...
You're specifically referring to Rocky Loves Emily. Is this correct?
No, I am referring to Three Ninjas. The Three Brothers.
That's what I'm saying. But one of the key lines in that movie is Rocky loves. And I know you're talking about Rocky Colton Tum Tum.
I don't remember that one.
Rocky Colton Tum Tum. Yes.
Yes.
Dude, they had the most ballin' ass room I'd ever seen, where like the parent starts walking up to their room, and then they had like the little mask that starts to like light up with the red lights, and it's like a warning sign. Like they had like the coolest looking I mean, it's just like, yeah, and I think it still holds up well, even though it's very 90s. Like it's so good. But I don't know. We digress.
It started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It went to Three Ninjas, and then it must have petered out somewhere around the like, I don't know, Jason Bourne phase. Like, right? There was that guy's a badass, but there's no way I'm gonna ever be able to do any of that stuff. I guess this dream of being an Uber Ninja's over. I'm like, huh. Well, maybe I'll just go watch Sniper and see how good I can be at target practice.
I'm gonna
Anyway.
ask Ben about like good, healthy, educational shows in a sec. But like, speaking of, have you guys seen the new Ninja Turtles though? The one that was like produced by like Seth Rogen and stuff like that.
Oh God!
Did you see it?
I haven't. I was a huge fan of like the rubber suit Ninja Turtles, like in the I think early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s.
Those are great. Those are
with
great.
you know, with the Foot Clan and Shredder and the whole
Shredder,
like,
yeah.
I rewatched some of those the other day, and they're so hokey, and I have such a soft spot in my heart for them because they're such like quintessential early 90s cinema, just with big rubber turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so
I love
good.
it. And April and Casey. Casey is the guy with the hockey mask, right? So yeah, those characters come in. Yeah, I did like that. So wait, thoughts on the new one though? Because actually, my kids watched it. They love it. They love the Spider-Verse and all that stuff. But like, you know,
which one though?
Which Ninja Turtles am I referring to?
Yeah, because
there's like the newest one that like just came, not the one that's like the
live action one or the animated one.
The fully animated one, not the one that
is it the one that's animated kind of like Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like the same studio style that did it. Yeah, same style. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like almost like stop motion animation, but not quite.
Exactly. Yeah, some things they animated on twos, which is like a animation thing. But anyway, like it's really similar animation style. I'm assuming Andrew is out on that.
I'm out.
No?
I am only interested in. I enjoyed the live action one that was like Michael Bay style, where Raphael was a real jerk and they CGI'd them, and they looked a little bit more like actual turtles, and they had like that one I enjoyed.
That one was
Every
the one
animated thing since the 90s animated series. I can't watch it. And it's kind of like Spider-Man.
That movie.
The Amazing Spider-Man with Peter Parker, that's the storyline I know. It's the one I love. The rest of these are garbage. Like
I think the one that you're referring to, the live action one, I think wasn't that like directed by Michael Bay or like the team that did like Transformers or something like that?
Probably was. Yeah.
I feel like it. I'm wrong about that, but I actually never saw that one. I don't have any critique on it. But the newest one, I can appreciate that the kids that did the voices were actually like teenagers, so they were really teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So like there are subtle things about that, and then I don't know, they blended like today's culture with like the whole vibe of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like really well. I thought they did a good job with it. I thought it was a fun movie. My kids absolutely loved it. Jackie Chan was a gem, doing a voiceover in there. Appreciate that. I was curious to pick your brain about other shows that you found to be good and healthy for your kids.
Oh, that's how we got sidetracked with Ninja Turtles right there.
Yes, we got sidetracked with Ninja Turtles. So bringing it back to shows that we do like that seem to not get the same reaction that some of these, like we don't watch Coco Melon, we don't watch any of the super we can kind of consider like addictive shows. We even kind of avoid like Peppa Pig, some of the bigger shows, but shows that we do like in our house that don't seem to get the same reaction that some of these other shows do. Tumbleleaf is a really good one. So some of these are like slower paced, like they'd be considered like low stimulation shows, right? Yeah. So like a low stimulation show means like it's not a lot of fast changing scenery. It's not a lot of like crazy colors or sometimes they even have like almost like addictive music in them. That's why Coco Melon is the way it is. It changes really quickly, and the music is actually designed to captivate your kids, which is, it's designed to captivate their attention. But one of the ones that we really like is Tumbleleaf on Amazon Prime. It's a claymation show about this fox named Fig. And it's this whole like kind of imaginary island. He lives like on an old pirate ship. It's a really cool show. It's really interesting to watch. And even the dialogue you'll see is like much slower than in a lot of other shows. A couple of the other ones to check out, like if you're looking for something a little more low key or to watch at night, Stillwater on Apple TV is really good. It's all about emotional and like emotional regulation. So like the kids are always running into some kind of issue, and then their neighbor Stillwater takes them through some sort of parable or story to show them like this is how you can deal with your anger or frustration or jealousy. or, disappointment. So it really helps kids understand like what their emotions are and how to manage them. And the last one I'll talk about, I mean, Bluey, we've talked about a ton. That's a huge favorite for the whole family. And then the last one I'll talk about is a new show we started watching called Puff and Rock, which is, again, another just kind of low key. Yeah, Puff and Rock is cool. It's a super low key animated show about two puffins on this island in the North Atlantic. And it's just their adventures, teaches your kids kind of a little bit more about nature. And again, it's just a slow paced show so that they're not constantly being bombarded with colors and music and changing scenery and all that. So it's easier to peel them away from that and say, like, we're going to watch one episode and be done. Rather than some of these other shows that they're just designed to hook them in episode after episode after episode.
Okay, so there's this girl named Jerica Sands, and I don't know, I feel like sometimes she could be a little overly crunchy. But one thing that she kind of got, I guess, like flack for was her TV show ratings. She has this whole thing about like managing screen time as well. She's got a course and all that. But she rated a bunch of TV shows, and a lot of people turned there to try to get like, okay, obviously like Bluey, Sesame Street, a lot of the basic ones. And she's like F, D, F, like horrible, terrible shows for you guys to watch. What? And it's like, what is wrong with you, right? And she gets into it, but if you go to raisewildflowers.com/TV-reviews, you can get a look at some of the things that she talks about crunchy. There. Yeah. But
are you typing it into the chat? Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah, I'll type it in the chat for you guys to check out right now, actually. One of the shows that we watched surprisingly made her list and got an A, a 90 out of 10. These are her top rated shows. 90 out of 10 was Trash Truck on Netflix. That was actually a fun show, and you would think that it's stupid because it's about a talking trash truck, which actually it made her list. I was like, oh no, this is a good show. So go check that one out. Other ones that actually make her list that are good, a little bit more of a slow pace, things that aren't overwhelming for a child's brain, that actually help with development, all that kind of stuff. Angela's Christmas 1 and 2, it got a 92 on her ratings. Stella and Sam got a 93. Snowy Day, which has gotten, I think, the highest rating of her list, 97 out of 100. It's called The Snowy Day, right? Shows like Bluey, I think she had a revised score, got an 82 out of 100. And it's because attention, it's whether or not this show is likely to cause attention issues. That got a 37 out of 40, so it doesn't cause attention issues. Behavior, she says that it's likely to cause behavioral issues due to silly behaviors, heavily models parents as the entertainer, may lead to unrealistic expectations, which, I mean, kinda, the damn dad. So there are like 4 main like things that contribute to her score. So there's the attention, there's the behavior, there's language, all right? Will it enhance vocabulary? And then learning. Educational content is mostly developmentally appropriate for young children with regards to Bluey. But attention, behavior, language, and learning are kind of like the main buckets that she tries to score everything. And Bluey gets a B- pretty much if we're going through the American scale here. But the Snowy Day that scored a 97 out of 100 scores high on each of those things. According to her, this one, it's a girl who's quite involved in the world of screen time and all that kind of stuff, and raising kids in a more wholesome manner. But
so why don't we kick it over to the next topic? So we talked. Yeah, this is a good one for you, Andrew. I feel like this is right up your alley in terms of the stuff that you've talked about, the stuff you enjoy. So one of the most important things when we think about choosing baby monitors, I mean, we have houses full of smart devices. We have Alexas and Google Nests and cameras and security systems and all kinds of things, phones that are collecting data on us all the time, right? Some of them we're using to monitor our own kids. So for you, being kind of in the more in like the IT world, it's something I've considered, I think, a little bit more as I've gotten older. or have been around my kids more and have just learned more about the technology that powers some of these things. But like when you're choosing your products, like what are some of the things that you're looking for, and maybe what are some of the things that you just like won't have in your home?
So I think the unfortunate answer I'm going to give you, and I don't think this is the answer you want to hear, but I don't consider those things when I'm buying a product. And I take a very relaxed attitude on it. They're going to collect your data. It's going to happen. You are probably spending way more effort and energy than it's worth in attempting to stop them from collecting your data. Now, what you want to pay attention is, how is my data being used against me? Because like when Alexa first came out, right? Everybody started realizing that this passive microphone was actually being used to feed ads into your Facebook for products that you might actually buy. And everybody had to go in and manage their settings and figure out how to turn off those features, right? Or depersonalize ads. And people like Apple went as far as to say, here's the little tab in your phone to give me nothing but depersonalized ads. So when I do baby gear, I specifically look for people who are advertising their privacy. And the reason I say that is because you don't put out a marketing privacy piece unless you actually have something to back it up, right? That was one of the big things that I liked with Miku. I've seen it on Nanit. It spoke to me, and I felt really comfortable with them. Now, when I brought them into my house, what did I do? So I'm an IT guy. I actually have a completely separate wireless network for all of my smart home stuff, all my cameras, all of my smart TVs, everything. And yes, I'm an IT guy. I know how to set it up. But for the average person, it's not that difficult. You can actually purchase just a second router and say, this is my internet, or my smart things network, and you can segregate it from your regular network, right?
Mhm.
It's not easy. It's probably going to take a YouTube video. If you have something like a Nighthawk, I think you can do this out of the box. I would have to check. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But we've already most of us have already done this, and we don't even realize it.
Mhm.
So you do things like you have your Wi-Fi that your phone goes on, and then your router gave you a guest network where when your mother-in-law shows up, she gets that network, right?
Right.
This is just creating a guest network for your smart devices. So that's one thing that I think is huge, because if someone is going to break into your house, they're going to do it through your smart lock. They're going to do it through your baby monitor. They're going to do it through um, the Alexa dot you have that isn't secure enough, right? They're not going to do it through your iPhone. Like that's
Right.
way too big of a leap. The other piece of this is, and this is a big chunk of work. I'm sorry, it is. We haven't simplified it yet. You have to understand parental controls on your subscriptions and on your Amazon accounts, your iPhones, and Google's making it really easy right now. They have a thing called Family Link.
Right.
You sign your kids up for an email. Both my daughters have emails. They have their own accounts. They're in my family. They have age restrictions. It walked me through what content each person at what age is allowed to view, right? Apple's doing the same thing.
Right.
It was very easy to set up and get going. And now when my kids get a hold of an iPad and they log in with their PIN, they're not old enough yet, right? But here I am going, does this actually work? Oh, it works. Oh, that's cool. You put in a kid's PIN and they just can't get to content on the internet they're not supposed to see, because Google is smart enough to stop that. Apple's smart enough to stop that, right? And so, especially for you, Ben, right? You probably don't want your 3-year-old stumbling on adult websites while he's browsing through Chrome. So you may or may not have a Chrome profile set up for him on his tablet, or a kid profile, right? We're in a digital age. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. We cannot just remain ignorant. And right now, it takes a little bit of work as a parent to go set all those things up.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because it's something that we, weren't necessarily prepared for.
Right.
It's a new era, right?
Right.
It's a new age where technology is evolving faster than it ever has. We have access to more content, knowledge, information, opinions,
Yep.
in our pockets than we ever have. And there's exponentially more smart devices in our
Right.
homes, from, the dishwasher to your cooking range, to your oven, to
Fridge.
your clothes washer. I mean, your robotic vacuum that's keeping your house clean. I mean, there's so many
You want
items
to
that are connected to
you want a
everything in your house.
scary one that people aren't thinking of? Or people are starting to get those robotic vacuums, right?
Mm-hmm.
The robotic vacuums map your house. That's what they do. They
Mhm.
ship all that data off to the cloud, and now companies are buying the footprint of your home from the robotic vacuum company, and they're marketing furniture to you because they can tell how long that 6-foot spot has been going around by your robotic vacuum you've had for 5 years. And
That's
hey,
pretty.
5
That's
years,
pretty
time for a new
scary.
couch. Right, except for Amazon
It's
just
like,
bought Roomba. So
Yeah, I know.
here's where it
Amazon
applies
owns
to
Roomba, so
well,
like,
parents.
they
here, I will
know everything
say
about
though,
our house.
on the one hand, I devil's advocate, as a marketer, as I literally, as
Yep.
my profession, as a professional marketer, that is a brilliant use of data, of
Right.
customer data. As a parent and an owner of a robotic vacuum and all that stuff,
So scary.
I don't love it, but
Right.
I understand the impetus for wanting to use the data. Now, there's another layer to this, right? Like, when we talk about accessibility to that data. So I think, one of the
Right.
original points
Right.
you made, Andrew, is like, we know that if we invite these devices into our home, whether it's baby monitors, smart vacuums, whatever, we know it's collecting data on us. It's how it uses
If you
that
hook it to
data
your
and
Wi-Fi,
how
it
that's
is. Yes.
available that's important to understand.
Right.
And so when you're looking at a device and considering, how does it use my data? Where are you, for those who may not know, where are you
Oh, sure.
seeing that information?
Okay, so we've all done this. You click past it every time you sign up for an account everywhere. It's the privacy policy. It sounds stupid, and most of them are huge. Skim the first few paragraphs. And when I say that,
Mhm.
what you're looking for is how they define terms, right? If you're looking at those first few paragraphs and you see something like, I'm trying to think of a really good example. Data, right? And they have defined data as any information sent from our device to our servers. Like, that's a big red flag, right? Because they're saying everything is theirs. And what's happening right now, and we're getting very technical, but there's a big battle over who owns the data. And it's kind of the same battle over that happened in the 80s. Who owns the song on the radio, right?
Right.
So if you think of it as, I bought a cassette tape, I put the cassette tape in my car, I hit play, I hear the song. You don't own that song. You own the physical cassette tape, but you don't own the song. You can't make a copy of it.
Right.
You can't give it to somebody else. Well, where the industry has gotten to is, you're buying a device that that attaches to somewhere else and sends the song out. And the question is, do you own the song, or does the device manufacturer own the song? And right now, because the only place that song is saved is on their servers, they own it. And I'm going to put this in a very clear context for everybody in terms of dad stuff. This is the thing that freaks me out about what just happened to Miku. And this is why I am so upset, right? Miku the way it was set up, I buy a $500 device, I get all these services. The only thing that's going off to the cloud, as far as I know and can tell, are the respiratory images, the respiratory data for storage and archival, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything's happening on the device. Cool, great, love this device, let's do this, right? The company who just bought them said no. Any data that thing creates goes to our servers. It is ours. You're going to pay us for the privilege of storing it for you, and then we're going to give you access to it. That scares me to no end, because what it means is that every Miku out there is filming. Every Miku that's on Wi-Fi could theoretically be filming and recording every baby, shipping it off to their servers. They're storing it. They're doing analytics on it. They're doing shopping on it. They're doing all kinds of data analytics to it, and they're not telling you what they're doing. And the name of the company was like Maternity Information Health.
Innovative Health.
Solutions.
Monitoring LLC.
Monitoring it. Yeah, right? Like their name just says, we're watching you, right?
Yeah. And
so
there is no information on the company either, because I did try to research them when Miku was bought out, and it's a very simple shell website with no real info. So I can only guess that it's either a holding company or it's, a subsidiary of a larger organization. But yeah, it's hard to find anything about the company that now owns that data and the cameras.
Right, and that's why it scares me. That's why I haven't purchased their subscription. That's why when they sent me the opt-out, I said I'm out. Right? Because what's, in my opinion, and this is purely my opinion, this is purely speculation, do not take this to a lawyer. I think what's happening here is they figured out they can do some kind of analytics and health predictive analysis on infants based on these camera feeds, and they are going to attempt to monetize that data and then sell it to whomever, diaper brands, Desitin, right? Because what I noticed when I was just watching my camera for a year is I got weak sleep schedules, right? I knew when my wife walked in the room. I knew when I was changing the room. The picture was clear enough. I could tell during the daytime if my kid had diaper rash while my wife was changing her, right? Like, it's a problem. And these are... My paranoid brain gets going odd places, right? And we don't know where that data is being stored. So
I'm just curious. So we've kind of gone at length about like talking about a lot of the things that are glaring issues, things that could be potentially scary. But when it comes to solutions, though, what are the right steps to take for maximizing protection? And you being an IT guy,
sure.
What are some, if you were to just kind of lay out a couple just points to really hit home to maximize the privacy of you and your family with regard to, I guess, home tech, whether that's Miku or anything like that, or, things, your routers, any of that.
Yep. If this kind of stuff concerns you, I would advise anything that says it goes on your Wi-Fi, you don't want. If it has the option to put it on your Wi-Fi, it's collecting data about you in some way, shape, or form, right? It's as simple as that. There is no reason for your baby Brezza to be on Wi-Fi if they're not gaining information about how often you push the button, right? So look at that first. If these are things that bug you, baby monitors, we've had them for years. They're portable, 900 megahertz, right? They go like 500 feet. Comes with a little portable screen, comes with batteries. They work just as well. Andrew has a bunch of reviews on them.
I do.
What you really have to be conscious of is what data and what information you're willing to risk. And it has to be a conscious decision. Now, given my background, given what I do, I have opted for it's way too much work to try and stop them. So I'm only mitigating the risks when they become problems. that being said, right? And I'll give you an example. Home Depot lost millions of credit card numbers, right? Mine was one of them.
Yeah.
What did I do? I went, okay, they lost my credit card number. Change my password, change my credit card password, keep an eye out. I set limits on my card to see alerts for spending.
Mhm.
It's risk mitigation at this point. You're not going to stop them. They're going to collect your data. So it's being mindful of that. Now,
Yeah.
You can go crazy. You can go completely offline. But you're just making your life harder in a different direction.
Yeah.
Right.
There is an upside. There is an upside to all of this, though, right? I did the Tally Baby thing. It was a device. Press the button every time your baby poops, every time you feed it. The analytical data I got back as a parent gave me so much reassurance that I was feeding on time, that my kid had good diapers, that I wasn't missing. Like, it relieved me so much. And when my doctor was like, hey, how's your kid eating? I was like, this month, right? I had all the data, and he's like, that sounds perfect. Like, your kid is doing great, right? and he had the ability to objectively look at data that we had rather than just going off of, well, I think he pooped 4 times yesterday, right? Like, so there is an upside, and we are learning a ton about childhood development and feeding schedules and sleep-wake cycles, because a lot of companies are using this data for good, healthy child research, right? We can't let a few bad actors screw it up for everybody. So I know I just went like on a 20-minute, the world is coming to an end, your privacy's at risk rant, but I am on board with 99% of it. My kids are about as smart as you can get.
And I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Like you're understanding that the world of technology is evolving. It's not something that we can stop. And therefore it's, as you said, risk mitigation and understanding how to live with it and how to use it properly and safely as much as you possibly can, right? So there are a couple good points in there. Definitely a lot of stuff to consider. I know one of the things I'm considering is switching all of my, smart devices to like a guest Wi-Fi network so we can segregate the traffic and sort of just give it a little bit less information to feed off to, folks that I may not want. But
if you get nothing else out of my rant, turn your guest Wi-Fi on. Do not use it for guests. Use it for all your smart devices, and let your guests live on your network, because they're less of a danger to you than your smart devices are. Like,
awesome.
That's a good.
That's a good takeaway.
Good discussion for sure.
That's an awesome tip right there for sure. I think we'll go ahead and start to wind things down. We'll move on to our Discord comment, and big shout out to homeboy Brett, who continues to be an active member on our Discord here, and he asked a bit of an off the wall question, more just about dads, right? What are your guys' wallet of choice? Looking to upgrade mine. Ben, you're the EDC guy. What's your thing? What's your thing, man?
So I've got 2, well, really 3. So 2 are from small makers. One of them is local to the Atlanta area. One of them is actually local to me, here in the Carolinas. So, and then one is like a kind of a major retailer. So, the first one, and I can't remember the exact name of the wallet, but there is a company, we'll throw some links in the show notes. There's a company called Bryn Mawr Dry Goods out of Atlanta. They make handmade leather, kind of very minimal card wallets, super comfortable, very small, throw them in your gym shorts, super comfortable. They use all kinds of different leathers, embossed leathers, all kinds of really cool materials to make their wallets. And it's actually a friend of mine I used to work with years ago went off and started his own company, and now he's building these, incredible handmade wallets. The second wallet that I love and that I carry regularly with me now is kind of my everyday wallet. It is called the Hitchhiker, and it's from a company called Rustic Heirloom. They're out of Concord, North Carolina. They do a lot of like limited drops. So it's one of those things you kind of have to follow them. They do a new drop I think it's every Tuesday at like 2 Eastern. I think they're like $50-$60, but they're handmade. heirloom quality leather, hand stitched, brass rivets, very, very kind of cool. They patina beautifully. And they come with a little lanyard, so you can like throw a bead on there if you want to, kind of customize it to whatever you want.
Nice.
And then the last one that I really liked, there's a company called Andar Leather Goods, and they make a wallet called the Pilot. And if you're someone like me that carries like a decent number of cards and wants to keep them organized, and mind you, these are all very like minimal wallets. But this one it's kind of cool. I don't have it with me, but there's a trigger actually on the bottom. So after you put all your cards in, you can actually pop the trigger on the bottom, and it actually fans all of your cards out in order. So you can fan them out, grab your ID or whatever credit card you're reaching for. Makes it a little bit easier to stay organized and see all your cards in one place. So for organization, I give it to the Andar. For just really kind of cool factor, the rustic heirloom hitchhiker, just because it's handmade and again it's local to the Carolinas. And then if you want something that's just a little bit different and out there and really kind of more one of a kind, Bryn Mawr Dry Goods make some really good ones.
I freaking knew Ben would be the guy to. I knew Ben would be the guy to chime in there. I have a much more simple answer. I used to go with a brand called Belroy, and now I've got a brand that I use called Exter, which is just a simple slim wallet, and then there's like the little button that you kind of like fan out like up to 5 cards. So I don't know. I've been really enjoying it. I think it's a really solid thing for me to be using. But yeah, that's called Exter wallet. Oh, it's spelled Ekster. So yeah, man, that's kind of what we're rocking. Andrew, do you care to share what you're rocking? Paper clips.
I have carried. Yeah, man, you got to go low tech on wallet. No, I am carrying a Secure ID men's slim wallet with genuine leather and RFID protection for 12 cards. The link is actually in our geek corner of our Discord. It'll probably be in the show notes as well. But it's I've had 2 of these. I really like them. It's a 6 cards in a metal piece with the little pinky trigger that fans the cards out, and then it has the piece I like it has a little spot for actually carrying cash. So you get the slim wallet feel, but you can fold up, carry cash. You can have your ID, hide your ID, and the whole thing's RFID protected. So it's a really nice little wallet. Keeps you from skimming your credit cards, which is always a good thing. Yeah,
that's a completely I totally forgot to mention that same exact thing. What you just mentioned is basically
the RFID scanner.
Yeah, with Exter, it's all there too. I did just a much worse job at like mentioning that. I was just like, I use Exter. I didn't think people actually cared, but like I did like my wallet, and yeah, really a similar concept to kind of what Andrew laid out, but. I don't know, when Ben starts talking about how beautifully a leather wallet patinas, I'm just kind of like, hey, let's go. Now I'm going to try to check out those Bryn Mawr wallets. You know what I'm saying?
I love the look of like old leather and brass. Just like looks so good.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I can't get over the bump. Like I'm a front pocket carry guy now when it comes to my wallet. I did way too much traveling, and I can't carry them in my back pocket anymore. So I need something thin, and every time I've done a folded leather wallet, it always ends up like an inch thick.
I'm kind of the same way. Well, then again, I do like thinner wallets.
Leather wallets either.
Have you seen like there's like studies done on people throwing off their posture because of the way that their wallet like just affects everything when they wear it in the back and just throws everything off.
Pulling a George Costanza there. That's what you're.
There you go.
That was George's whole thing, right?
To close things out, we did have a comment come in here about postpartum anxiety for dads. Or is that Andrew? Is that something
you did a short, or somebody put together a short for postpartum anxieties for dads featuring you, Mr. 2. And this was one of the comments that came in after it, and I figured it would just be a good, like, hey, we hear you, we're with you.
Dude,
and
carry it away. Do you guys want to chime in on that?
Sure. So Reaper 1313.7 said, 100% true. My son was born last month. I just lost my spot. And my parental leave ended today. I'm going back to work, and I'm freaked the fuck out. I get it. We all were, right? Yeah, I knew. Leave my pronunciation alone. We all were. I was scared. I'm sure Ben was scared. I think Andrew was also scared. We talk about this on the dad support channel of our Discord probably once a month. Just, hey man, it'll be okay. You'll get through it. And it's not always me replying, so you can get somebody else's opinion too.
Oh man, Reaper 1313.7, right? That was kind of, yeah, I mean, to your point, that does come in a lot, and I just it's something that I'm pretty sure we've addressed this quite a bit on the podcast, a little bit. We've talked about it on the course at length, but you guys, you're staying present, you're staying strong, and I mean, it's the best you can do. Just kind of be there. But yeah, those, it is very easy to overthink those early months, when in actuality, it's just such a small blip. And, we're at the stage right now where we're kind of getting rid of a lot of the baby stuff. We talked about it post show in our last recording about how short this time is. We thought that it would be, I think Ben said it best. I don't know, remind me what you said, but it was like something to the effect of like, you come into this thinking that you've got like a lot of time in this stage, right? Where they're kind of growing, they're, toddlers and all that, but it's so fleeting. It's so short.
Yeah.
And us like making content on like the Dad Verb channel on like, I've got like this a Newton play yard thing here, right? And how it's just like, I've been in it for 6 years. Ben's officially done having kiddos, but like, it is so fast. It is just so unbelievably fast how short this period of your life in parenting is, and just rapidly accelerates past it. And then you're off to a whole new stage where your kids are in elementary school and you've got a whole new set of problems, right? So
yeah,
not problems.
The having kids chapter is so much shorter than you would think. Like we're kind of at the same stage as you guys, Andrew, where we know that we're done having kids. Actually, shout out, I have my my vasectomy consult on towards the end of this month. So I'm going in, nice. I'm getting it done. I'm taking one for the team, getting snipped. But so we are officially done having kids. Nice. But the craziest part about it is as you start to put the baby stuff away, you do think like it feels like the having kids chapter of my life would have been longer. And now we're just in the raising kids chapter, which it's great. I love like our family dynamic. I think it's awesome. But it's definitely different and it goes by a lot faster than you think. And anybody that's struggling with postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, anything like that happens more often than you realize in dads, because a lot of dads don't talk about it. I think we do a good job of having that conversation here. It's really important to have. First and foremost, if you need it, and even if you don't think you do, don't be afraid to seek professional help. Talk to somebody, especially if you don't feel like you have the tools to manage it. A therapist can help you work through that for sure. There's absolutely no shame in seeking therapy to, work through some of those issues and help you figure some of those things out. And second of all, one of the things that I found that helped me is my anxiety was born out of wanting to control the outcome of things that I had no control over. And so once I really thought about the idea of not having any real control and focusing on the things I could control, my presence in my home, the way I presented myself to my kids and my family, the effort I put into spending time with them, the effort I put into making, those memories happen, that's where I found my anxiety coming, less and less, because I just didn't have time to focus on it because I was so focused on on that moment, on making those moments matter, because I didn't have control over the other moments. So I can either focus on the things that I can't control and they'll make me anxious and worried, or I can, really buckle down on the things that I have control over and feel much more sound and calm and focused than I would otherwise.
Sage-like advice right there, man. Well, we're going to go ahead and close things out. If you guys ever do have any questions or comments, you can always find us on YouTube in that comment section. Happy to respond to anything in there, or you can find us on the Discord. If you want to learn more about that, you can go ahead and find that in the show notes or in the comments of this video. Someone made a comment a while back on the YouTube on that note about like time codes on the YouTube videos. Maybe that was just a one-off thing, but if that's something that would actually be helpful for you guys, let us know. That's not a difficult thing for us to kind of plug in there. For all new expectant dads out there, if you do want to take the opportunity to explore our online course at dadverb.com, it's a valuable resource to help you into your journey into parenthood. And again, thank you to Ben and Andrew for joining in on this podcast. My name is Andrew. Remember to before we sign off, to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave us a review. Again, means the world to us. Until next time, keep dadding like a pro, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Dad Verb Podcast. Good night, everybody, or good day, or whenever you're listening. See you guys.